I do got to tell this one thing. I got to tell my Lubbock story.
Okay,
so
please do.
I can't tell you
I'm
what.
interested.
We managed 175. We own a property management company.
Okay.
And we managed 175 doors in Lubbock, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Lubbock has the highest homeless population per capita in the state. I would bet it.
I can believe that.
So do you know where Lubbock High School is? You know where Avenue
That's
Q
where my
is?
dad went to. That's where my dad went to school at. Was Lubbock High.
Okay.
Yeah. It's different than when he was a kid. Let's put it that way.
That whole little area is a lot different.
Yeah.
So, you know Avenue Q?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's
that place
Highway 80.
is pretty sketchy.
That's Highway 84.
Yep.
Okay. As you trend down there towards that Walmart across the way.
Yes. Was there the other day. There's a catfish place right next to it.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Right across the way is the Hilton Doubletree.
Yes.
New nice hotel. So that's where I would stay. So we're managing 175 doors. I'd go up there. We had a problem with squatters, so we would put a for rent sign out on a property, and the homeless people would break in immediately and start squatting.
Oh yeah.
Normally, in a real estate situation, you'd have to evict them. Like, so if that happened in Dallas, you'd have to go through the eviction process. It's a big, messy process. But in Lubbock, the police are so tired of it that they will show up and criminally trespass them. Well, I didn't know that at this juncture, but we kept having them. So they go in and they would actually buy locks, change the locks on the unit, and then they would just be in there doing heroin or whatever drugs they're doing in there. And so it'd be like Dirty Mike and the boys having a soup kitchen in there. And we would still be trying to rent it, so prospective tenants would be going by and they couldn't get in, and it just kept happening and kept happening. So I'm like, I'm going to drive up there. I'm going to go to this property in the middle of the night because they're never there when we get there. Just the remnants of their nonsense is there. And so I'm going to go there. I'm going to show up in the middle of the night. I'm going to call the police. We're going to get this thing handled. Well, got there in the middle of the night, didn't have the courage to do it. Now, Texas had just passed constitutional carry. So I show up the next morning, all right, and it's the first time in the history of anything that I had a gun on me. And so I'm wearing a sweatshirt, an A&M hoodie, as a matter of fact. And I've got my gun that has a flashlight on it in the front of my deal there. And it's a duplex, which means somebody lives in the front and it's got a property in the back, and the door is on the side of the house. And then you have to walk through the backyard to get to the back door, which is on the other side of the house. But there's a fence. So, like, you're in a real bad spot there if you're coming up to that door. And anyways, whenever I walked around, we couldn't get in that front door. So I come around to the back door, and I had a girl with me that did our maintenance. So she's there behind me. And I walk up, and the screen door was closed, but the door behind it was open. So I was like, okay. Cool. Yeah, like, we're going to be able to change the locks on this front door or whatever. And so I open the screen door swings open, and there's a guy standing there. And so it's kind of dark. It's morning time, but it's kind of dark, and it's definitely dark in there. So I pull a gun with the flashlight on it and hit this dude with the flashlight. And he could have ran the other way and went through the door that's on the other side, but he didn't. He hit the ground, and this is the one thing I learned. I didn't pull the gun with the intention of shooting somebody. I pulled the gun with the intention of putting the flashlight on him, knowing that, whatever this was, that he hopefully wouldn't try anything, and then also, you know what I mean, it would like put the situation at ease, which is weird because you enter a gun into a situation, nothing's at ease. And so what this dude did was he crawled to me. And so I'm telling him, stop, don't move, please, just stay over there. But I'm standing in a doorway, and so I'm standing in this doorway. So he could just turn around and go the other way and go out the other door. But he doesn't. He keeps crawling to me. He gets to me. He's crawling up my pants. And so I've got a gun and no intention of using it, right? Like, you know what I mean? It may as well not have bullets.
Right.
But this guy is now crawling, and I'm like, so had this been a meth head, I'd have been in a real bad situation, but he was strung out on heroin. So anyways, he was wearing a backpack, and, just like instinctively, I was like, she's on the phone with 911. I mean, it's probably been 2 minutes of yelling back and forth at this guy, and him yelling at me and me yelling at him. Well, anyways, I ended up grabbing him by his backpack and slung him out the door because he was crawling up me. So I'm holding this gun up higher and higher. And so I sling him, and he hits the fence, and the fence falls over. So the neighbor, he hit the fence so hard, the fence fell over. Well, he gets up and he's stumbling to me, and I'm like, "What the hell, guy?" So I hit him, and when I hit him, he falls down on the fence. Well, the neighbors heard all this commotion, so they come running outside. And when they come around the corner, all they see
you with a gun.
They see this guy laid out, me with a gun. You know what I mean?
Some girl on the phone, yeah.
She's on the phone with 911. They have no idea what's going on. So the neighbor picks up a brick and starts chasing me, starts coming at me. So I've got this gun, and I'm like, what the hell? So I take off running. She takes off running. We run out the front. And anyways, the guy, we get across the street, and I turn around. The dude with the brick still chasing me, by the way. And so I turn as I'm running across the road at like 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, "You're in Lubbock. You got a gun. You're running. Somebody's gonna shoot you."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just gonna be like, "Oh, that guy's up to no good, pal."
Yeah.
Put your gun up. So I put the gun up, and I turn around, and the guy goes back over to the fence. He had, in his defense, he has no idea what's going on.
No, yeah.
He don't know if I'm robbing this guy. He don't know what's up. So police show up, and they're like, "Why didn't you shoot him?" And I was like,
That's probably the most Texas response you could have gotten.
And I was like, well, a lot of reasons, a lot of things. I didn't want to take a human life.
I didn't really feel like I needed to.
Yeah, I really and truly, it was a bad pull on my part. You know what I mean? Everything about this, and I don't have all day to stand here and explain to y'all what happened and maybe go to jail. I just don't have that in me right now. But yeah, so that was
quite the story.
That was my Lubbock experience, and that happened. We had squatters move into every single property we put up for rent. So we managed 175 doors there. Eventually got to where we just couldn't. We tapped out and said. So I feel like I spent every weekend or several times a week going back and forth to Lubbock. I've made that drive.
It's a long drive.
I've made that drive probably 30 times.